Man, it's so hard. It's so hard to know. Like, are they ready to quit? Are they ready to tap out? Was last week the final straw? I don't think it was. I think the Vikings are going to win this game outright. I think they're going to sit up like the Undertaker. I think Justin Jefferson's going to get about 14 targets in this one. He's going to have a huge game, and I'm not.
Get in the know. Nonstop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North.
Oh, man.
And ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by
Welcome
Sterling Brewing Company.
to Vikings Line. Sorry, my button bar melted down there for a second here. My button bar melted down just like the Green Bay Packers defense when faced with Mr. Game-winning drives presence. Aaron Rodgers made the cardinal sin. Judd Zulgad and Declan Goff. You never give the 2-minute Terminator that much time left in a must-win game. We'll get into all of the things off of a Vikings victory over the Packers, back to 500. Judd is at US Bank Stadium. Declan is taking all of your requests to jump into the show here. This is the most fan-friendly and interactive show in Minnesota sports, and today it is a Skol celebration with the Vikings knocking off the Packers. If you're watching us on the Purple Daily YouTube channel and a TCL TV, thank you for supporting us. TCL is one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. Let's go out to the stadium. Judd Zulgad, that was a blast of a football game. So many things. What is your main takeaway here before we turn it over to Vikings fans?
My main takeaway is this. The offense, for the most part, aside from a few decisions that I still don't get, but the offense rotated around the people that it should. I do not have a problem with the near pick that was, fortunately for Kirk's case and the Vikings case, actually dropped by the Packers defensive back. But the deep shot for Jefferson late, I actually liked. And I think we saw again that for the most part, if you throw the ball to Justin Jefferson deep down the field at crucial times, you are going to get more often than not the desired results, and that provides big plays, and that gives you the opportunity to win games like this based not on your defense, because I'm going to tell you right now, the defense sure as hell didn't win this football game. The offense did for the most part when the Vikings did that today, and Jefferson had another fantastic day, catches of 43, 56, 21, 23 yards, that this team can win football games based on that. Are they going to make mistakes? Absolutely. Are they going to get breaks at times? Absolutely. I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that they are approaching this in the right way, and this is how you win games. And Phil, you kid, but you're right. If this offense realizes, and they seem to now, what they have, not just at quarterback, but elsewhere as well, and you give them approximately 213 to come back and win a football game, they can do it.
Yeah,
they can do it. So amen. It took too long. I get all that. But, the last two Sundays, we have seen what this offense can do. And if the defense falls flat, which today they certainly did in the second half, guess what? You can still beat Aaron Rodgers. You can still beat the Packers. You can still win football games. That's my takeaway.
We have one mission statement on this show. It's we want the Vikings to win the Super Bowl before we die. We need a second one, or like the number one rule on the show is always throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, always. Even if he's double covered, he might catch the ball, he might draw a 37-yard defensive pass interference, or maybe the pressure is just too much for the defensive backs to actually what do they call it when you survive the ground is I guess what happened there to Savage on that play. He failed to survive the ground. Dex, what was your main takeaway from this game, real quick?
As I get my whiteboard out, as I do now for every win, it's very simple, as I can make myself full screen. Respect in my terrible handwriting. Respect for having the audacity to continue to target Justin Jefferson, to continue to take deep shots down the field. I mean, he throws that ball and it looks like it's intercepted. The game's over, but Kirk still had a chance to throw the ball down the field and wasn't afraid to do so, something we've been asking him to do for pretty much his entire tenure here in purple. And even though it's risky business. It's easier to hand the ball off and run on second and long and run screen plays and do check downs and do the things that Kirk's always done. They had the fortitude and the will to actually push the ball down the field, even in situations where, I mean, if they're tied, they don't have to go for that shot right there in that near missed interception. They continue to put the ball down the field. Good things happen when you put it down the field and trust Justin Jefferson. So respect. That's my main takeaway from this game.
I think my biggest takeaway here is this team looks better than 5-5. It feels like it should be better when you look at the roster than 5-5. They've shot themselves in the foot so many times this season. But when I watch them for 3 hours against the Packers, and I get that the Packers are missing, like David Bakhtiari, makes a huge difference, and they were without Aaron Jones today. So I get that this wasn't like a full strength Packers team, but if I didn't know what these two teams' record was, I would have said this is an evenly matched game that probably actually skews toward Vikings, which makes sense because the Vikings were playing at home. But I don't look at this and say, oh, one of these teams is below 500 and the other one is 8-2 coming in here. The Vikings looked better than the Packers today, and I don't think it should be surprising because their record should have been better than 4-5 coming in it today, if not for some heart wrenching and inexplicable losses. But the other thing too, Kirk Cousins, who's having the best season of his career statistically, I think just situationally, he's not turning the ball over as often as previous seasons. He outdueled Aaron Rodgers today, and he responded when the Vikings got up by 2 touchdowns. I hope that people didn't just think, well, there it is, that should be the game. No, Aaron Rodgers was always going to come back, throw some punches himself, and for Kirk, 2 different times, once when they trailed and then once when it was tied at the very end, to come fighting back and throw key passes and find Thielen and Jefferson. Props to him. And KJ Osborne had a couple nice plays mixed in there too, but Kirk outdueled Rodgers. The Vikings look better than the Packers today. And the schedule isn't easy going forward, but there are some very winnable games on the horizon. You got the Bears twice. You got the Lions. San Francisco looked great last week, but a lot to love about that win today here, boys. The stadium sounded ridiculously loud on TV today, Judd.
It was, and no surprise, lots of Packer fans here too. And so when they thought that they had to pick, there were a lot of, let's go Packer chants. And I thought we're going to have some fights here. But yeah, this is the formula though. This is the formula that fans have been talking about for weeks now. This is not hard. This is not oh man, I didn't see this, man. This is a great thought process. Justin Jefferson, to put this as clearly as possible, Justin Jefferson is to the Vikings and Kirk Cousins is to the team as the Cunningham-Moss connection was. Randall Cunningham didn't have this unbelievable year. He was smart, and they said, we're going to take advantage. Think about the passes that Justin caught today. They were fine passes, but he's also catching passes that I would say the majority of guys in this league can't catch. And so the thing is, and I go back to this word, you just have to empower Kirk to be like, dude, you're going to throw some picks. It's going to be unfortunate. That's too bad. But we need you to focus in on this guy, which is why when they did, so the only drive that absolutely got me was that late first half drive before the Packers scored a touchdown, when they went 5-yard pass to Thielen, 4-yard run for Cook, 1-yard run for Ham. Yeah. And I'm like, this totally flies in the face of what you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. Don't do take that play out of your playbook. Make if you're going to fail on 3rd and 1, make it because you took a shot.
Speaking of taking shots here, Nick Olson, noted Vikings blogger Nick Olson, Kirk Cousins finishes with an average depth of target of 11 yards per throw in this game.
There you go.
Which is the highest single game average that he's had in over a full calendar year. So he came in with the 3rd lowest average depth per throw in the NFL. And it was 6 or 6.5 yards, somewhere in there. So 11 yards per throw is about twice as much as his season average. And it was I think it was 8.5 or something last week against the Chargers. So driving the ball downfield. And there was a couple passes that probably should have been picked off that weren't. One that got called back because one that did get picked off. And that was more of a miscommunication than him throwing into double coverage. And then the one that also should have been picked off by Savage if he would have survived the ground. But I'm fine with it. Go down swinging, man. Go down swinging, throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson. So here's how you guys can get on the show. Email us at vikingsventline@gmail.com. We have a full green room, so to speak, right now. But let's fire it up here. This is Vikings Vent Line, part of the Purple Daily umbrella of Daily Vikings Entertainment. Mackie, Judd, our executive producer, Declan. Who is first off the bat here, Dex?
All right. We're gonna take an audible here, and we're gonna go actually out to PA. Pennsylvania, that is.
Oh,
Bob.
I was like, what's happening right now? Okay.
Bob in Pennsylvania.
What's up, guys?
Bob in a hot tub.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, I'm just setting up shop here. I got my victory drink.
Attaboy.
All right. I want to continue the theme of we're still seeing the light. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Is that a beautiful thing or what? Here it is. Look
Okay,
at
Bob,
this.
Is
Look
Bob
at
gonna go?
this.
Is Bob gonna go streaking
No,
on
look
camera right now?
No, look at that.
I don't know.
Here it is, right here. Here it is.
What are we looking for?
We're looking for the
Oh,
light.
hold on. Here we go.
Oh,
Here we
okay.
go.
Oh,
Here we go.
there
See
we
the
go.
light,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
We're
there's the
still
light.
seeing that light.
It's a little cloudy,
There it
Bob.
is.
It's a little cloudy out there.
It's beautiful there in Pennsylvania.
The light is the fact that throwing the ball on first down, deep down the field, taking shots, throwing the ball on third down when it's 3rd and 1 to score the game-tying touchdown, throwing the ball when the team leading the division, 8-2 winning team, is not ready for it, and you have the weapons to defeat the opponent and win a game like that. We've been waiting for this for years. I've been sick and tired of on a 3rd and 1, you hand it to your fullback or pitch it to your fullback, and, it's game over. The Packers go home with a win. But this time, this day, we got the win because we played this game with conviction, and that's how beat a winning team.
Bob, you son of a gun. You just said it 100%. That's Bob in Pennsylvania in a hot tub. Yeah, give me a skull chant there. Yes. Bob, we love you. One of the OGs of Vikings Vent Line. Bob in Pennsylvania. I don't know if Bob had trunks on there or if he was just like full celebration mode.
Hope God.
He might. I think he had
I
just an empty can of Surly
No,
covering
no, I
his.
hope he had trunks on, man. Don't tell me.
All right, who's next here? Who has to follow that?
Eldon.
Oh no,
You gotta
Eldon
I have to
does.
follow that. Well, I'm calling from the land of cheese again, and
Hold your head high today.
yeah, well, actually, a couple guys had to back out of the chat 'cause they said, "Oh, suck it, Vikings!" after that pick that wasn't a pick, and they didn't like when I said that's why Darnell Savage isn't a wide receiver.
Yeah.
He can't catch. But the Vikings played like they were the 8-2 team, which where's that been all season? Did Zimmer hit his head up bye week and somebody say, all right, I can throw to Jefferson now, but we still have to get that 1 3rd down run to CJ Ham, which I'm fine with if they're going for it on 4th down. That's okay. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 1, yeah, see what Ham can get you. Otherwise, that's like a 2nd and 1 play, not a we're going to punt and then give the Packers a chance to score right before the half. Also, time to buy a lotto ticket. The Vikings made a clutch kick to win a game.
Before the clutch kick too. How about and I think Dalvin Cook was the one that sort of started this, but because Dalvin Cook probably could have scored a touchdown and he
But he
winds up
didn't.
sliding. He just told the media. He told the media after the game that he did it because he didn't want them to give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers, and then he thought, well, they'll probably run it again, and then the Packers will just allow the Vikings to score. But the Vikings wisely saw that coming and took a knee. It was the Zimmer won the chess match in the final 5 minutes. It was a 5-minute drill, and
it helped to let the Packers just score on that drive before the 2 minutes. Be like, okay,
genius.
we'll just let him go.
Exactly.
And that probably wasn't planned, but it worked. If Scantling goes down and they eat more clock, we might have a different conversation.
Eldon, great stuff, man. Hold your head high in enemy territory today, and go
I
taunt
will.
every Packer fan, friend, and family member that you have within a 50-mile radius. That's right. Text all of them. Tell them they all smell like cheese.
Let them know.
And actually, the Packers' biggest mistake was not allowing Thielen to score. When he caught that ball, he was going to score and got tackled. They should have let him score.
That's a tough one in that moment.
That would have provided a lot of time. Oh, it's very tough. But
to think about that on the fly is hard.
In retrospect, if you get beat there and you've got 12 on your sideline, you're probably better off to have him score the touchdown and then try, and because there's time and timeout to come back then.
That's another one too, where like that ball could have been picked, but he whizzes it right. I mean, the defensive back wasn't watching the ball, and so that was an Aaron Rodgers throw, just whizzes it right by the ear hole of an unsuspecting defensive back, and Thielen takes it and does the rest. The final numbers on Thielen and Jefferson. Jefferson had 100 yards in the first quarter, by the way, and then had nothing in the second quarter, and that was frustrating. But he did have the big defensive pass interference drawn. But Jefferson goes for 8 catches, $169, 2 touchdowns, 21 yards per reception in this one, and 2 catches over 40 yards. And Adam Thielen had 8 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. They were targeted 20 times combined on the 35 pass attempts by Kirk Cousins. I think we can all get behind that percentage, that ratio, if you will. All right, who's next here? Vikings vent line, Dex.
Hey, you guys.
Okuni, what's going on, man? I think Dex might have
remembered
No,
my
Dex is there.
Good there.
Appreciate that.
How we doing, Alcuni?
I'm doing all right. I just want to start off by saying, Justin Jefferson, we have found our new Randy Moss. Finally, after all these years, he is an absolute superstar. We are lucky to get to watch him every week. And I also want to say we need to thank the Lord that Darnell Savage dropped that pick, because I'm telling you, my heart dropped all the way down to my butt. I'm telling you, I was like, oh no, we did it again. But can I just like rant for a little bit?
Sure.
Where has this been all year? We are 5-5. Okay, best 500 team out there. Yeah, awesome. But where has this been all year? Like Justin Jefferson, it was like a rookie, and we didn't know what we had in him. Like, why haven't we done this all year? We should be better than 5-5. I just don't understand why now, when we have our backs against a wall and we're 3-5 and 4-5, like why now? The scheming has been a lot better. Kirk Cousins is being a lot more aggressive. Justin Jefferson is finally getting the chance to show off what he can do. Like, why couldn't we have done this earlier in the year? We would be 8-2, 8-3. We played like it today, but I mean, come on. They better do this for the rest of the year, because like you've shown that you can do it against the best teams out there. So from now on, this is what we should see every week, because it's just ridiculous that we are 5-5 right now with this amazing skill set of skill players that we have, and Kirk Cousins can throw any ball you need him to. Like, I just don't understand why we are 5-5 right now.
Yeah,
The
great stuff, man.
The answer to the question is really simple, because this type of football flies in the face of what the head coach wants to do. He's now being forced to. Like, his job, it's his job. And so like, you can embrace the skills of your team, which is Cousins and Jefferson and Cook, the offense, or you can continue to say, well, that defense is still good, which, by the way, it's really not. So your choice is get fired for sure, or embrace what can actually win you football games, which isn't really what you like or pride yourself on. That's why. I mean, this, as frustrating as that question is, and it's a legit question and it drives us all crazy, the answer is very simple. Mike Zimmer does not enjoy this style of football. It's just 2021 now.
Well, but what's kind of crazy is he's prided himself for 2 decades on being this like innovative and aggressive defensive play caller, right? He's the first play of the game. The Vikings brought a sub package of like heavy on the safeties, basically, right? It was Cam Bynum and Xavier Woods at safety, and now they got torched on that play because I think Devontae Adams went for like 40 yards, but exotic looks, double A gap, sending pressure, aggressiveness, as I would say calculated aggression on defense. And if he were to just think more along those lines offensively, like he has the last couple of weeks, I'm not saying just be blindly aggressive all the time, but calculated aggression should be what they strive for offensively. And outside of a couple little nitpicky things here, the CJ Ham toss on 3rd down or whatever, like just CJ Ham is one of like 4 fullbacks left in the NFL. I get that the Vikings like to use a fullback, but anytime you're leaning toward a CJ Ham pass or a CJ Ham run, replace it with Dalvin, replace it with Thielen or somebody else. Who's next here on Vikings Vent Line, Dex, and where are they from?
Let's go to Bo. Bo, where are you calling from, man? How are you?
I'm in Shakopee, Minnesota, so I'm out here with you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep,
man.
we got
What's
you.
up, Bo?
Hey, how you guys doing? Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Love what you guys do. I just wanted to start off by saying we got to give credit here to Kubiak. I thought he called a really good game, despite, some of the games before. I think he's been doing pretty good. Obviously with the Panthers last game. These are some pretty good defenses. Now the Packers aren't, a bad defense by no means. So I think we got to give him a little bit of credit. Obviously, we know what our offense is capable of. So, I mean, obviously, we have to get these guys the ball. I just want to look on the other hand, though. I think this is the reason why we look at wanting Zimmer to be fired, just because I don't know how many times it was. Man, it was second and long. They started out with few penalties with first down, and after that they were getting chunk yards, 10, 15 yards after those plays, and it's just like, man, what are they doing? So I think that has to be looked at. He really has to kind of look at himself in the mirror, and we have to get that figured out. But two things I want to leave you guys with just a question. One, do you think Cook is a little bit timid? I feel like that play before the halftime, he could have gotten a first down. He jumped out of bounds. I felt like if he would have just given a little bit more effort, we could have gotten that first down. We wouldn't have had to have gone to him on that pitch. So do you guys think he's playing a little bit timid? Is this what's going on, or he's just not trying to be hurt? And then second of all, if you were to choose, if you can get this type of Kirk, if you can get this play style of Kirk for the next 2-3 years, are you guys extending him? Thanks, guys.
Hey, hang on, Bo. Hang on for a second. I love that. I love the second question, especially because after a game like today, it's like, wow, if you could get that Kirk. And I love it enough to where you are the vent of the night here, presented by Surly Brewing Company. So you're going to get a night for 4 people to the Surly Beer Hall, 2 appetizers for the table, 4 entrees for the table, and 3 beers per person. And the Surly Beer Hall for the audience is just a blast. They also have the Surly Pizza spot upstairs too. So if you're looking for 30 beers on draft, Judd's flagship favorite, Furious, and everything to like experimental and vintage beers and amazing food, the Surly Beer Hall is back. And so, Bo, you are the winner tonight of the.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, guys. I'll try to be back.
Awesome,
Thank you,
man. All right,
thank you,
Judd. What are your thoughts on? I don't know if Cook is timid.
I think he's still hurt. I
That's
think
what I was going to
that
say.
ankle, I think, has been hurt, and he's trying to play, which is a credit to him. But if you watch him run, there is no question he's missing that cut. Like he's got another cut that when he's at his best, he definitely can put his foot in the ground and move, and that's not there. So I think he's hurt. I don't think he's like purposely trying not to get hurt. I think he is hurt, and he's trying to play because he's still their best back hurt. As far as the Kirk question goes, that's a really interesting one, and that depends on one thing now for me. I need to know who the coach is going to be. If you're going to bring Mike back, then no, I'm not. I'm not going down this path again because I just don't feel that Mike is the right coach for this quarterback. He has been of late, but it's only because he's being forced to. I don't think Mike is back, which now leads to the question of, okay, who is going to coach Kirk? And that to me is very much the question of, because if you bring Kirk back, you're extending him. You're not going to bring Kirk back on this contract. So it's not going to be like, well, if it doesn't work out in 2022, he's gone. You're going to extend him again to flatten that cap hit out. So I need to know who the coach is going to be before I make a decision. And does that coach have another style and another quarterback he wants, or does the Kirk skill set and sort of the hand holding that needs to go on with Kirk fit this coach?
I'm very comfortable after the last couple of games. I'm comfortable adjusting my opinion as we go along here because what we have seen and the stats bear it out, just the rhetoric you're hearing from the coaching staff to the players to the receivers, Kirk Cousins, it's a different approach the last couple of weeks. I love it. I love the fact that they're trying to maximize the upside of this offense. And if you look now, I think the conversation, like the Vikings are sitting in this mud pile of 5-win teams in the NFC. It's going to depend on how things sort of shake out here, but like the Panthers are 5-6, Eagles 5-6 now after they won today. Niners are 5-5, Saints are 5-5 after 2 straight losses. Vikings currently, because of tiebreakers, are sitting at as the 6th seed in the NFC. And so if they were to play a playoff game this week, they would play the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. If they somehow were to move down to the 7th seed, then they would be matched up against the Cowboys, who are the 2 seed right now. So I bring this up to say I want to know where are they at going into the playoffs. I think this win doesn't guarantee playoffs, but this win puts them in prime playoff position with some winnable games on the schedule. You can get to 8 wins by just beating the Bears twice and the Lions. And then you got a home game against the Steelers. You got that game against San Francisco next week that's going to be tough. The game against the Rams. But I think if you can look like this in a couple playoff games and get back to the NFC Championship game, like that's an open possibility. This roster is talented enough. They have shown some great coaching staff adjustments the last couple weeks. So I'm going to withhold my opinion on the future of Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmer and even Klint Kubiak until we see another game next week, until we see the next month play out, and until we see a playoff game or two play out. That's kind of where I'm at with it. All right, who's next? Vikings Vent Line presented by Surly.
Let's go to Charlie. Charlie, what's up, man?
Hey, guys, I'm back again.
What's up, Charlie?
Been a bit because I've been studying here at Mankato. So, yeah. So after watching this game, I'm still recovering from the 10 heart attacks I've had. So pretty much. I will say in terms of the game, I thought it was very good. It's probably one of their best. It is probably their best game they've played this entire season so far, at least from what I've seen mostly. And I kind of do agree with what you said previously. I'm not really judging Zimmer yet until like the end of the season and these next few games coming up, but I'm leaning more towards possibly having him go just because like the play calling is still like, what are you doing, man? Runs on like 3rd and long, 4th and long, or like 2nd and long and 3rd and long. And then pretty much like Cousins good. Like I'd say this is probably his best year with the Vikings as well. Like people have said before, I'd say my biggest thing is like, and I know people are kind of on the fence, is status of Spielman. I actually would make the argument for keeping him at least another year because a free agency he's never been good with, which is fine. But his drafting of talent has been incredible so far. Just because we see Darisaw, he's been excellent. Kene, he's been excellent. Like Jefferson's been excellent. Like he hasn't really had a bad draft class. Like he's had a couple guys who have fallen here and there, but he hasn't had like one entirely bad draft class. So that's kind of where I am in terms of the statuses of each person of sort of like the big three right now of Zimmer, Cousins, and Spielman.
Sure. No, Charlie, I would say, and thanks for coming on, Charlie.
Great stuff.
And keep up your studies there at Minnesota State. Declan loves Minnesota State.
Cows.
Yep.
Purple Cows. The Harvard of Blue Earth County, the Princeton of Stearns County. You know, we love to trade jabs there a little bit. It's fine.
I think the biggest beef with Spielman is first rounders. I mean, Justin Jefferson obviously has panned out, but one of his first rounders today was Garrett Bradbury sitting on the bench. Mason Cole got this. Now Mason Cole got shoved around a couple times today. I'm curious to see what the PFF grade says on him tomorrow. But that's also a really tough defensive line in general. So I don't know. What do you guys like? Rick Spielman, any strong thoughts on him right now, just based on what we've seen this season?
I need to find a quarterback, and I don't trust him to be that guy. Here's what I think. I think the personnel. I think there's personnel on this team, as Zim talks. The personnel on this team is absolutely, in some areas, top notch. And I think if you took these jobs to market, you would have some really good people like, oh my God, I can work in that facility, in this stadium with this team. Like, think about this, you guys. Today's game was a lot of fun, and the Vikings won, and that's great. And they did a lot of the things offensively that they should do. But think about this. To a football savant, they are scratching the surface. Like they are finger painting right now. Think about if you got an offensive guy in and said, okay, what else can we do here? Like we don't even think of this stuff. Like it's above us. But like there are
Let's get rid of the fullback and see what
right.
happens.
Well, but I mean, and think about the Jefferson plays and like they are literally scratching the surface here. Can you imagine if you had a GM coach tandem that was on top of the offensive play calling, had a good enough defense to get by, which is what you need now. Yep. And furthermore, had like a GM who could find quarterbacks.
Yes,
I'm not saying that's simple, but that's my goal. If I'm the Wilfs, oh my God, you'd be working. You're sitting on a gold mine here.
The offense should look like this all the time. You shouldn't have games like the Browns game. You shouldn't have halves where you just disappear like the Lions game. I mean, opposing teams should be tapping out because of how impossible it should be to guard all of your weapons. I mean, Dalvin, Thielen, and Jefferson are three of the best in the NFL at their positions.
I'll give you one. I'll give you the perfect example today on the third down and one that ends with a pitch to Ham. How is that not a drive where you say we're going to score? Like, we're going to score for sure. Like, at that point, you're daggering them. Their will to play.
That felt like a driver. It was like, I think that was after the interception that got called back because of the 15-yard penalty. It kind of felt like a driver was like, let's not get too crazy here.
Right. And to me, that was a drive to dagger them and take away their will to play. Because they were very close to that, and they got a lot of momentum back through that 3rd and 1 not working.
I saw the comment that was up there just a second ago from Blazin' Perp Heels. Mackie, you scared to stand on an opinion. Keep talking. Your Kirk. Kirk makes too much money. Hate back and forth. It's not really coherent. But he's saying have an opinion about Kirk. Guy, this must be your first time watching the show or listening to the show, and thank you, by the way, because now you're part of the family. You're part of the community here. My macro opinion, my big picture opinion of Kirk is that he doesn't affect winning enough as a leader and as a dynamic quarterback to be the second highest paid player in the NFL to the salary cap. And because he makes so much money, it's hard for the Vikings to put together a complete roster. He doesn't elevate the roster like other top quarterbacks do. Russell Wilson is like the glue that holds the Seahawks together. When he goes away, they just lose, right? Kirk is wonderful when given great protection and great weapons, but he's not the driving force for winning football games. There's a reason why his teams, over 110 career starts, are I think, exactly 500. So that's my macro opinion of Kirk. Now, zoom into the micro, what we've seen here this season and the last couple of games, he deserves a ton of credit. And today, all right, defense running out of gas, defense is banged up, Packers march down the field, take a lead. Kirk, we need you. Boom. Kirk responds back. Oh, Packers hit a home run play to tie the game. Kirk, we need you again. He responds. He has responded in those situations late in the fourth quarter and overtime much better this season than really any other season in his career, and he deserves credit for those things. And I want to see the rest of the season play out before I sit here and say they should or shouldn't look to extend him, right? Generally speaking, he ain't the guy. But let's watch the season play out. That's where I'm at with this.
Right. And just quick, Kirk is the type of guy, and this is fine, but Kirk is the type of guy who needs to, he's a really good chef if you go and get the ingredients and bring them home and are like, Kirk, we're going to give you these. And so like, if you're like, hey, Kirk, go buy the ingredients, go do this, he struggles. And that's why the frustration here, and it's right, is the fact that the ingredient here starts with Justin Jefferson. Mm-hmm. And he is now allowed to throw Randall Cunningham balls to Moss. That's what that was today, you guys. That was the same exact thing. And it's not that I'm taking anything away from Kirk Cousins, but what I am saying is the empowerment needs to be there. So he can't say, well, I wasn't really told to, right? He threw that pick, and what did they do the very next play? They came back with a pass play. That was incredibly important. And that wasn't Kirk. That was, okay, we're going to still trust you. That trust factor is so important. And that's why I go back to what would happen if Kirk had a coach and a coordinator who were like, here's what we're going to do for you all the time. Yeah. That's why I'm curious about that.
All right, who's next here on Vikings Vent Line? Declan?
Yeah, let's see if he'll turn his camera on.
Hey,
Exiled to Cheeseland. What's up, buddy?
We're excited. Okay, so
couple kids.
Yeah, we got watch the game. We're here in Madison area. General thoughts about the game. We thought we've seen this show before, where it's just 3-0, lose the fourth quarter. And happy to see Kirk respond. Happy to see Kirk throw the football to Justin a lot more. It's tough though being here in Cheeseland. My wife's a Packers fan, so I might be sleeping on the couch tonight.
Wait, you or her?
Yeah, which one?
Yeah, but I managed to convert 2 of the kids to Vikings fans.
Love it, dude. Love it.
Yeah,
so wait, so are all of your kids Vikings fans? How'd you win that battle?
Well, I don't know. I think they felt bad for me because every Sunday was like,
why is Dad just crying in the corner in the fetal position?
Exactly. But my son, he actually had a question for you guys.
Oh yeah.
About going to school tomorrow, because he gets this question a lot.
Okay.
Going to school in Packerland. What's your question, buddy?
I forgot.
Well, his question was, what does he say to all his friends when they say, how many Super Bowl trophies you got in the case?
Here's what you say. All right, we're gonna fire up a sound effect here for you. You stare at them, and you do the skull chant. You don't even need to say anything. Just stare back. And by the way, like, half those championships are from like 55 years ago. All right, I mean, we're getting to the point now where the Gopher football team has a national championship like around that time. So let's
yeah, that's true.
Let's pump the I get it, Packers. You got a bunch of Lombardis from the 60s, but let's pump the brakes a little. Yeah, just stare at them and do the skull chant.
That's all you got to do.
There you go, buddy.
All right, awesome. Exiled to Cheeseland.
Thanks
for coming on, man. Appreciate it. I love it. His poor wife has to put up with. I mean, good. That's what she deserves for being a Packers.
No, they're in Madison though too, so he is.
Ooh, yeah,
He's gutsy, man.
Yeah.
He's very gutsy. That is right in the heart of it too.
Yeah.
Badgers, Packers. Whew.
Who's next?
Let's go out to the coast. Let's go to Cali. Cali Viking. What's up, man? You are on Vikings Vent Line.
Oh, what's up, brothers, man? Great game. Oh, the aggressiveness of Zimmer kept the same pace. If you guys would look and see, of course, you guys know, man, kept going after it, especially after Kirk Cousins might have had an interception or a fumble. Doesn't matter. He done both of those things. And he still kept going and kept going, even to the damn end, man. This is a beautiful thing, man. That's all I got to say, brother. Kept going aggressive. That's it.
All right, Cali Viking. Thanks for jumping on, man. Appreciate it. I'm trying to find. I'll get this here shortly, but I'm curious to see where this game ranks statistically. So Kirk went for 341, 3 touchdowns, and just under 10 yards per attempt. He's had a lot of games, a lot of 300, 2-3 touchdown type games in his career as a Viking, but I think this is one of the 3 or 4 best games we've seen from him statistically. But I'll verify
probably.
that. Yeah. All right. Who's next? Let's do it.
Let's go to Cameron. Cameron, what's up, man? You're on Vikings Vent Line. Where are you calling from?
Calling from the East Coast in southern New Jersey. So you got some things out here as well. I'm kind of upset I missed the Baltimore game, but I guess I'm not too upset I missed it. I kind of have 3 points here. One's really going to hit on you, Judd. The first one, Zimmer, where's your defense at, man? Everything's about defense. Looks like the offense showed up today and, got us the win. I mean, coverage down the field was kind of garbage. The only thing that really was a saving grace, and even going to the kicker, who saved the win this game? Secondly, Judd, I want to apologize. The past couple times I watch a podcast, I watch every day going to work every morning. I think you guys gloat on Justin Jefferson for the longest time. I thought he was good. I didn't think he was like top receiver in the league. I thought he wasn't being used, but last game was like, man, he really had a great game. What luck? This game, 2 games in a row, it's not luck anymore. He's just that good a receiver. So, big shout out to you for drilling that in. It's a big point. We have such a good tool between Thielen and Jefferson. They're such great tools. We need to use them. And look, now we have 2 wins in a row. Jefferson's over 10 targets a game. Big point. And the last thing that I want to hear you guys respond on is, who do we give this congrats to? Kirk Cousins almost threw multiple interceptions. Almost had a fumble where we lost the possession of the ball. They still had the huevos to keep going. They still kept going. They still kept pushing. They were still aggressive. They didn't go to their conservative nature. Who deserves the shot out here? Is it Kirk? Is it Zim? Is it Kubiak? Who really stepped up and said, hey, let's keep putting the foot to the gas. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep going instead of taking that step back and ultimately causing us a loss that we may have had if we did take that step back.
Yeah,
I think it's the whole team. I think it's the entire team. I think it's Zimmer. I think it's Kirk. I think it's Kubiak. I think it's the whole team. And here's why. The Vikings, no matter how much we want to look at their bad start and say, oh, man, did they get unlucky? No, they didn't. They beat themselves because what did they do? They got conservative at every turn, and they sabotaged themselves because in sports, the more conservative that you get, the worse things are going to go, and you're not going to get luck. So, yes, there were mistakes made today. They got what we could call in air quotes lucky, but they also remained aggressive, which meant that they continue to capitalize on things. And so the difference is bad teams beat themselves by going conservative. Good teams win games by keeping their foot on the gas, even if they get a bit scared by things. So I'm going to give credit to the entire team for doing something really the past 2 games, and especially today. That is the very reason why they lost games earlier. They did the opposite today. And yes, we can point to a lot of things where, man, if that had gone wrong, but guess what? It didn't go wrong. It didn't go wrong. Why? Because you continued to be aggressive, which I really applaud.
Yeah, I would say, just quick little pie chart of praise within Vetline here. I think Zimmer and Kubiak do deserve it was frustrating that those guys couldn't figure it out early in the season, just how to better distribute to your best weapons. But they did some self-scouting, so to speak, and they figured out, okay, this is what needs to happen. Maybe there was some pressure applied from front office. I guess we'll never fully know. But I would say the guy with the ball in his hands for 3 hours deserves the most credit, because ultimately it's up to him. Yeah, like there's design plays and there's, you're going to go through your progressions, and there's certain things that are going to be like you're just going to have to gravitate toward because of scheme and play call. But like ultimately, he's the one that dictates 10 targets to Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins does. Mm-hmm. And this was, by my account here on Pro Football Reference, this was only the 4th time in his career that he's thrown for at least 340 yards, multiple touchdowns, no interceptions, and 10 yards per attempt or more throughout the course of a game.
Yeah.
One of those was with Washington back in 2017, and the other two, there's the Rams game in 2018, and then there was another one for Washington in 2006. So the second time as a Viking that he's had a game like this with those stats.
There is no question now, too, that what we talked about after the Chargers game has to be true. Andrew Janocko, the quarterback's coach, is 1,000% helping call plays. Look at the motion now. Like, look at things are different. Like, they are doing things. It's not just more shots. They're motioning Jefferson out at times. In fact, the first touchdown,
the touchdown
that Jefferson caught, he was in the backfield, and the
brilliant.
Packers had no idea. Like I looked at that and I'm like, what the hell? And then he caught the pass. The Packers had no idea what to do there. There is help here. Like this is not Kubiak is not found.
Wait,
God.
so is Janocko, is he just like this? Is he just some sort of hidden weapon play designer that they've unleashed?
I think Klint was overwhelmed. I really do. His play calling was for once you get out of scripted plays, putrid. So I think they finally said, we have to get you help. The other key play that I'd like to bring up that I think is an indication of how much things have changed these past 2 games, especially early today in the game, in the first quarter, Kirk locked on to Jefferson, and it was really, really clear it was part of find 18, like just find 18. He locked on Jefferson, and this is what happens. Flashed open and then was covered. Cousins freaked out and started to go to his second read, which I think was Thielen, and got sacked. Okay. And I thought to myself, that's not good, because like that's what Kirk does. After that, he cleaned it up and started just making the throws. Mm-hmm. And that is so important. Like, you can't be like, Jefferson might be covered a little bit, I can't throw to him. No, if you're going to throw to him, throw to him. Mm-hmm. And I really think that was the only glaring example of like, what are you doing? And then and that's the type of thing that Phil a month back would not have been cleaned up. No
it's
way.
Also kind of amazing, like all of the color commentators and play-by-play combinations we've seen this year have made some sort of like couched reference to how overwhelmed Klint Kubiak seems. And I don't know if I know they get access to a lot of different people in the coach and different players. Like they talked to Justin Jefferson this week on a Zoom call, they said. And I don't know if they talked to Kubiak, but at one point Greg Olsen mentioned, a lot of these, because he had, what's Norv Turner's son's name? Scott Turner. So Scott Turner was a play caller for him at one point, and he said, with a lot of these guys who are sons of great play callers, it's really tough for them because everything they've learned is from their dad, but they're also trying to figure out a way to put their own spin on what they see. And, it wasn't just him making an observation. It was very much like, this is a thing that Klint Kubiak is trying to figure out who he is as a play caller. He's 34 years old. He was at Kansas 5 years ago, so it was risky and still remains risky that he is put in this sort of training wheels are off for the first time situation in a win now season. But It worked today, obviously. So, all right, let's get to our next guest here on Vikings Vent Line.
Let's go to Keenan. I also think Janoko is just Judd. It's just actually Judd with Janoko's face inside of it. I think that's actually what it is. It's a Scooby-Doo
Judd's the one that's
situation.
pulling the strings and making the play calls. Yes.
Nice, what's up?
Keenan, what's up, man?
Keenan?
Welcome to Vent Line. Where are you calling from?
Sartell, Minnesota.
Awesome,
Boom.
man.
Dude, first off, huge fans of you guys. Just want to tell you that.
Thanks, Keenan.
First thing I want to start with, Jefferson today, lights out. I don't know if you guys saw, but Kirk on the sideline today just seemed like more like involved and fired up. Like I've never really seen him like that. Like
he was ready to rage a couple times. Like he was fired up.
I like seeing him fired up. Also, what are you guys' thoughts about Garrett Bradbury? Do you think that he will come back? I personally don't want to see him come back. Even though Mason Cole got wrecked today, I don't really want to see Garrett Bradbury back in there. Also, it's awesome to see that the Vikings are back in control of their destiny, because I think that by far we are the best 500 team in the NFC. I think we have a very good shot at it, and I think that they got to go and get it. So I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that stuff.
Should we steal one from Pardon My Take here? Let's do our 5-5 team power rankings here. So let's go. Let's include the 5 and 6 teams. So these are the 5-win teams in the NFC: Vikings, Saints, 49ers, Eagles, Panthers. Is there any question that the Vikings are the best 5-win team in the NFC? Not really, right? I mean, we'll find out next week against San Francisco, but yeah,
it's probably the Vikes.
Yeah. All right, great questions, Keenan. Thanks for
Appreciate
jumping
you,
on.
man.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Bradbury, Judd.
Yeah, the Vikings, to be extremely clear here, the Vikings do not have a center. They don't have one. Like, they're doing their best. It's their fault. But it's not like put Bradbury back in now and see what he can do, because Cole got thrown around by Clark. No. Their centers aren't good. I mean, Mason Cole, when he played center for the Cardinals, graded out really poorly. There's a reason why. He's bigger and against decent defensive tackles doesn't get tossed around as much as Bradbury. But Kenny Clark, who's in your division, and you're probably going to play him again, can manhandle either of those guys. So the takeaway is this offseason, go find one. Go find one. And if you have to pay him a little bit, it's worth it, especially if Kirk is going to still be your quarterback.
Yeah, they probably. I haven't looked to see. Maybe our guy Tyler Fornes from Climbing the Pocket can tell us if there's any. There's that Hawkeyes, center for the Hawkeyes.
The
Iowa
first center is a big time talent.
Yeah, but I mean, Garrett Bradbury was supposed to be in. I mean, he was a first round talent too. So
I think that guy's a hoss, though. I think he's a big dude. Like, you got to have a big dude. You can't have it's a zone blocker.
Any center from Iowa is just a hoss, dude.
That's a great word. Hoss is a great word. Slappy's a great word.
I think it guarantees that fifth year option is for sure not being picked up. I mean, it looked like it was going to be the case for the better part of this season, but that fifth year option ain't getting picked up this spring.
Here's what's going to happen. All right, first of all, zero chance that Garrett Bradbury can be your starting center next year. If he's on the roster, it has to be in sort of a swing role, right? They're going to, I guarantee you, we're going to see stories at minicamp next year that Bradbury's working out at guard, and so he'll be like the sixth man off the bench for the offensive line next year. He'll be what Mason Cole has been this year. And make no mistake, like, Mason Cole is not a long-term solution. He's just not as terrible as Garrett Bradbury, like Judd said. Although today he got shoved around quite a bit. We'll see what the film says and the PFF say. Real quick before we get to our next guest here, Judd, people are noticing Judd Zulgad looks like he's lost about 25 pounds. How is he doing it?
First of all, please play the breaking news sounder, because I have breaking news as of late last week, and I'm unveiling it
breaking
for
fat
the first
news here?
time this time. Breaking Judd fat news.
Breaking fat news.
Thanks to the folks at Livia Weight Control Centers, I am now down to 213. 213. I am down to 213 from approximately 240, on my way to 200 pounds, and it has been, for me, as simple as possible. It is now the Season to Believe friends and family event, so join now, save 40% off the plan. Your first visit is free. Livia.com, 855-GO-LIVIA. That's 855-GO-LIVEA, or Livia.com. But yeah, we're down, I think I'm down 26 plus pounds now, and hopefully soon it will be 30, and then before I know it, I'll be at 200, and Livia will help me maintain it. Livia.com.
Love it. And you don't have to wait till January 1st. Just get your ass going right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't mean you can't still have a great time on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I didn't wait. Yeah, you know what? Exactly.
You're probably going to have some good food on Thanksgiving. That's okay.
That's right.
Bounce back the next day.
Feel good on Jan 1 instead of saying, God, I need to lose weight now. Lose it right now.
Look good, feel good, play good.
That's right.
Here on Purple Daily.
Damn
All right, let's get to our next guest, Vikings Vent Line.
Let's go to Hunter. Hunter, what's up, dude? You were on Vikings Vent Line. Calling from your car, it looks like. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
There we go.
Thank you. Yeah, calling from my car. My roommates are upstairs in the apartment, so I'm just, getting away from them so I don't have to bother them with this. But I'm here in Logan, Utah. So I was born a Vikings fan. The first year I can really remember was 2009 with Brett Favre, and that was fun. But anyways, thoughts about the game. I thought that Xavier Woods played really, really bad. I thought he had a big struggle of a game, honestly. It just seemed like he was getting burned like left and right. And then same with Mason Cole. But another thought that I had too was on 1st and 5, there's a huge debate in our apartment about what the Vikings should have done. And I really liked personally that they took a shot on 1st and 5 when they got that false start, or the 12 men on the field, that's what it was. But even though they threw a pick there, and I thought they lost the game right there, I still like the decision to and take a chance, especially on a 1st and 5, because I think that's just a perfect opportunity to take a shot there.
Yep, Hunter, we're losing the connection there a little bit, but so let me think here. So he's saying it was a 1st and I'm trying to remember the play sequence he's talking about.
The 12th man in the huddle, which made it 5 yards up forward for the first down. Then Kirk throws what looked like that game-ending interception, game-stealing interception.
That's right.
The play comes back, but he's saying the willingness and the aggressiveness to continue to put the ball down the field, which is something that he really hasn't done in his entire career. Because I understand the logic there. The game's tied. You don't have to shove the ball down the field at that moment. You don't necessarily have to do it, but they still were able to do it. And I think it says a lot about where the offense is going.
So I feel like when because it looked like an interception before the commercial break hit, and then they reviewed it, and they came back. But I was thinking that was a really bad pass.
Yeah.
But how can I and we sit here for weeks and say, dude, it's okay. Like no one's gonna destroy you for throwing interceptions. Like don't throw 20 of them. But you could throw some 50-50 balls to Justin Jefferson. It's like that happened to be a terrible pass in a key moment, and they got lucky that he dropped it. But it's hard to say that for weeks and then all of a sudden be like, well, what's he doing on that play? Well, he's being aggressive.
Yeah, and let's talk about sports karma too, because I feel like if that gets picked up, like if Kirk tries a check down and Dalvin tips it and it gets picked, it's like you deserve that, right? Like I feel like that pass was incomplete because the karma was, no, we're coming for you. Yes. But like I feel like you create your breaks, and that was a definite break. But I also applauded you guys are going for the dagger, like which is what you should do. And I complain constantly that you don't. And so if that is a short pass and a typical Kirk, oh my God, I got to get rid of the ball, and it's picked, I'm like, you guys deserve exactly what you're going to get. In that case, I say, no, good play call, good chance. Yes, it didn't work. Okay, cool. But you're doing the right thing. And I think you create breaks out of play calls like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. They also, they deserve the defensive pass interference in the second quarter too. You throw the ball up. That's an option that people don't think about often enough, right? Well, it could get intercepted. Well, it could be caught. You also could get a defensive pass interference.
And I thought the guy grabbed Jefferson for sure. Didn't you guys?
Absolutely.
Like he freaked and grabbed him. It's like, okay, cool, take that.
The other one that I saw Packers fans were very mad about was the 15-yard penalty interception on just a miscommunication down by the goal line, and the Vikings got bailed out because of a roughing the passer. There's definitely been some bad roughing the passer calls in recent history. Like the Clay Matthews had a couple of them, 4 or 5 years ago. That was textbook today. That was helmet to Kirk's face mask.
Yes,
full on. It wasn't
1,000%.
ambiguous. Sorry, dude. Yeah, like the interception didn't happen because of that, but it was an illegal hit. So Packer fans, you're wrong.
A stupid hit. That was a really stupid play.
Yeah. All right, who's next? Vikings vent line.
Let's go to our buddy Alex in Texas. Alex, what's up, man? Welcome back. How are you?
Hey, Alex.
Hey, guys. Long time no talk to you. Been busy with my new job and everything. So, first of all, if Garrett Kubiak is still our offensive coordinator, is he aggressive as his son was today? And also, no, Mason Cole, he's not a great center, but unlike Garrett Bradbury, when Garrett Bradbury gets dump trucked or forklifted, he's permanently dump trucked. Today, Mason Cole reset himself and gave Kirk Cousins that extra little second he needed to complete that pass. And the last couple callers, Keenan, living in Texas, I know Xavier Woods. I think we got the Xavier Woods that the Cowboy fans were talking about. I don't think Cameron Bynum can be much worse than what Woods was today. This team, I think, this team has found the formula. And you guys talk about luck, with the Vikings being lucky today. Well, with all the bad luck, with the bad luck the Vikings have always had in their, seems like forever. It's nice to have luck once in a while.
Yeah.
No. And also, Aaron Rodgers almost threw a pick today too, so don't be too hard on Cousins. Aaron Rodgers' pick was dropped. And my good luck charm sat next to me today, guys. This is JJ.
Oh, look at JJ.
JJ.
Who's a good
JJ? Who's a good boy? Girl.
So that's the good luck charm. My wife named him after JJ Watt because he's a Texans fan, but I have taken over. He is now JJ for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, he won't know the difference. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys as usual. Fantastic. I enjoy your shows all week and keep up the great work. You guys are awesome.
Alex in Texas. So let's go back to his original question there, Judd. Do you think what we've seen from Klint Kubiak the last, let's say, couple weeks, do you think it's on par aggressiveness-wise with what Gary Kubiak would have recommended?
No, I don't think it's on par, but I also think that the consistency of the play calling starting in week 1 would have been much better. And so like the trade-off wouldn't be just I wouldn't want Gary back. I think Gary would have actually had a much better template for play calling going back to the first week. Do I think it would be as aggressive as what we've seen the last 2 weeks? Absolutely not. And I like this a lot. But I also think that there's something to be said for taking approximately 8 games and largely flushing them to get to this point where things have changed. So I'm not going to also in the same breath here sit here and say, I'm glad Gary's gone, because I do think Gary had a better plan and certainly wouldn't have, how can I put this nicely, freaked out in some of the situations that Klint probably did that cost this team.
I think the biggest thing here is that whether it's Kubiak getting some help and or it's just Kirk Cousins, they've been in so many close nail-biter games, and they've pulled out a handful of them. I mean, they pulled out the Arizona game, and the kicker missed it, right? It wasn't like they threw a devastating pick or got sacked or something. So to play like they did again down the stretch, like they're reinforcing – this is what it looks like. These are the plays that work. These are the go-to. These are the receivers. It's not that hard to figure out. Jefferson, Thielen, right? Like they're building reference points in close games, and they're having some success that they haven't had a lot of under Mike Zimmer and Kirk Cousins the last few years. So that should be a good thing. All right, looks like Chancey is up next here. Chancey in Fargo. What's up, buddy?
Guys, how are you doing today?
I think we're pretty pleased, my friend. We're pretty pleased with what we've seen.
Right. So I called to answer your caller from Madison's question for his boys, that the Packers fans with all the championships and whatnot. So here's how I view it, kind of like, well, first up, I was going to say, how damn entertaining are the Vikings? Win or lose. I am so, there is no doubt why they're the most popular team. I mean, some games they win like this, some they lose, but they are never boring, okay? And so the analogy to my buddy, the boy that's in Madison is the Packers fans are like the kid that went to bed at 9 o'clock every night. He studied well. He went to college. He got a job as an insurance salesman. He's put his money in his 401k every year. He's doing well. Health insurance is good. He's got a nice middle-class home. Every year, they look forward to a good Christmas, lots of gifts under the tree. It's going to be a nice life. They're going to pass away at 81 in a nursing home. They don't smoke. They don't drink. Vikings fans, and this is where you need to understand the addiction, it's a roller coaster. You're the kid that got out of high school and said, I ain't going to college, screw it. You lost all your money initially on a very bad investment, picked up a lottery ticket off the curb, hit the Powerball, put it into Apple stock, took the Apple money you made, put it into Enron stock. Then you went on a drug bender for a few years, went through rehab, came back out. The roller coaster is what is the love, okay? And that's what we all have together. Tell him to ask his Packers friends if they have a love boat. If they have a 15-1 season with a field goal kicker that's never missed that misses. Ask them if they've got a U.S. Bank Stadium where you can do a skull chant and walk out depressed or excited. Ask them if they have ever signed the best quarterback ever from their rival, had him come over, play a great season, throw a pass across the middle, and then get busted for wearing Crocs in photographs. This team is not boring. That's the bottom line, and that's the difference. There is no doubt the pass. What other team? I don't follow every other team, but what other team has the kicking woes that this team does with the Blair Walsh, the Gary Anderson, the Greg Joseph, on and on and on? What other team has a Minnesota Miracle game? No game has ever had that great of a finish in the NFL. We don't have the World Championships, but damn it, it's the most entertaining team. What other team has ever had their stadium roof collapse where they need to move to another stadium to go play? What other team can't get up to the podium to make the draft pick in time? What other team does all this stuff? Nobody. Nobody does it. So you tell that Packers fan, good for you. But we're on this high road. We're taking crack cocaine. We're putting it all in on red. We're riding the wave. We'll die at 51 because we're Vikings fans. But damn it, we had a fun life. Thanks a lot.
We weren't here for a long time. Well, what is the saying? But it was a damn good time? Whatever the hell.
We're here for a good time. We're here for a good time.
Die young and leave a good-looking corpse. That's the
also,
old saying.
I think Chancey hit on a very key point there, that the most offensive thing about those Brett Favre photos was the Crocs, right?
Yes.
Like, what are you wearing on your feet, dude? Come
He
on,
did it
guy.
it was with the Jets, okay? He was lonely.
Yeah,
it was
that's a
New
good point.
Jersey. I don't blame
Jets.
Brett for that. He didn't do it here. He had the life here. Come on.
Also, the Vikings didn't have two 15-year franchise Hall of Fame quarterbacks just sort of fall into their laps. Although Jeb would argue that they should have drafted Aaron Rodgers when they had Pete Dante Culpepper, but that's
could have taken Aaron Rodgers.
Not today.
2005
for a different day.
I just said you could have.
today.
I'm not arguing it. Just said.
All
you
right,
could
let's keep it rolling here. Vikings Vent Line presented by Surly Brewing Company.
Luca, what's up, man? Welcome back to Vikings Vent Line. How are you?
I'm doing good. My teams went 3 for 3 this weekend, so that's pretty good. Especially with the Vikings. I was at church this morning, and I have a buddy who's a big Packers fan, and I'm like, "Oh, are you gonna watch the game today?" Because I know that he doesn't pay enough attention to know who they're playing the next game. So he's like, "I'm kind of busy, but who are they playing?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm like, they're playing the Vikings," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And as I walked out of church, he passed me on the back, and he says, "Go Packers!" And the game just felt different. I don't know if it was the Packers or just continuing this ride of, aggressive play calling, but the game just felt different. It was, an electric barn burner game, if you will. It was just, I don't know, it was very entertaining. But one thing I kind of picked up was just the inconsistency on defense in the end of the first half. Maybe the hold on Wanham, call it what you want, but still one hold call shouldn't, be enough to completely deflate a defense in the second half. The last 2-minute mark. It's kind of my big thing.
Yeah. No, Luca. Yeah, definitely be careful rubbing it in too much in church. I'd wait till you get outside of church, but now you'll have a few things to say to your friend next Sunday. Thanks for coming on here.
Do what you got to do, Luca. That's what I say.
You can repent. You can brag. It's church. It's a safe place. He's fine. He's okay. He's okay.
Who's up? Oh, go ahead, Judd.
I was going to say, I think as far as the defense goes, too, they got really tired, and they aren't that good. Like, Xavier Woods is probably just not that good, right? But, keep in mind, Everson Griffin was signed to be a situational pass rusher. He's playing all the time.
Yeah.
Anthony Barr is now playing, when he does play, with a chronic knee condition, every down. Like, you can't just keep flying around. So I do question, and I think the Vikings feel they don't have a choice, but I do question the use of some players based on the fact that at some point in time, they just wear down. And I think Griffin, I saw some things about, well, Griffin didn't set the edge here or there. Folks, I think it's because he's tuckered.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it's because he sucks. I think he's worn out.
Something to watch here on the Packers side the next month and a half. Aaron Rodgers told the media today that his toe injury is, quote, a little worse than turf toe. And turf toe knocks guys out for chunks of seasons. So if they're getting like 60 or 70% Aaron Rodgers, and he did not look 100%. Some of it was Zimmer throwing some exotic looks at him, but he did not look 100% at all. He looked really uncomfortable flushing out of the pocket. If they're going to get 60 to 70% Aaron Rodgers, they have a really tough schedule down the stretch, then maybe the door's open for the NFC North later on?
What's the old saying? Let's not count our chickens before they hatch.
I'm just saying. I said maybe.
Just
the door's open for the division.
Let's see them keep this going. Let's see them. This is very Vikings like. Let's see them continue this. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Baby. Don't count those chickens. Don't do that.
Keep it moving.
Bad
here
luck.
On Vikings Vent Line.
Kyle, what's up, man? Welcome to Vikings Vent Line. How are you?
Yeah, it's been good, man. What a win! What a win! But and I got some notes here, so I'm gonna try to stay with it.
Do your thing.
But I just, great positives. Got to get some fall golf in here in southeastern Iowa.
Nice, man.
It was 50 degrees and it was awesome. And then got to watch Packers fans at the clubhouse see us up 16-10 and a half. But to Judd's point, I am happy that we've stayed aggressive in today's game and the previous game. But on the the Jason Garrett's to Zach Taylor, Brandon Staley scale, like we're a 3 in aggressivity or a 4. I think at times I just feel that we haven't quite accepted the fact that we have to stay aggressive no matter what, especially on good teams. And I think that's what holds us back the most.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically in our game, like we're up 16-3 right before the half, and we basically do the run, like to do what realistic Randy says. We run, pass. Let's defense, ugly defense, and then they score a touchdown. So I'd like to see them just continue to be aggressive, especially on teams like the Packers or in the 2017 playoffs when we were playing the Drew Brees. We let them back in that game. So I think if the goal is Super Bowl, they need to stay aggressive no matter what happens. Secondly, I guess my question that I have for the group is, I'm in a glass case of emotion. I feel like this is the exact same thing that we went through last year. We're 5-5.
Yeah.
And I'm super happy no matter what, whether we get 2 wins, 3 wins, or a bunch of wins. Beating the Packers is the best thing in the entire world. But I guess my question to the group is, should I just get ready to be disheartened and, get ready for the failure, or do I get all on this bandwagon and see them succeed?
I would say this. They're going to lose games still in the regular season, so definitely, like, they could lose to San Francisco next week. So don't think that they're just going to smooth sail through the last 7 games on their schedule just because they've sort of figured some things out offensively. But I think this all comes down to playoffs now. Can they put themselves in a position? Could they? This is going to sound crazy, but their schedule lightens up quite a bit. Is there any way they could somehow get to like 11 wins, even 10 wins? Is there any chance of a home playoff game, right? Like, to me, this is all about your emotions aren't really on the line until about the middle of January now, Kyle. That's what I would say here. I think. I mean, could they lose 3 in a row here? They are the Vikings, so who knows?
Yeah,
but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to. I think they're going to win 9 or 10 games at this point. Judd, what about you? Sports Dad should chime in here.
Yeah, so I think
he's seen more than we have.
Well, I think they found a good formula for now. So, like, I actually like offensively the formula these last 2 games, especially that's been plugged in. But I mean, this is very Vikings, and we saw it last year. Going back to the first year I covered this team, 2005, right? That Vikings team was off the rails bad. Brad Johnson starts playing QB. They win like 5 or 6 consecutive games. The next thing, they're in the race for a playoff spot. So I would say as far as expectations go, like, I expect them now to win 2 more games, 3 more games. My question is after that, because that's when you seem to get the letdown at times. But I would say if you have heart problems, get the nitroglycerin ready, because Vikings fans don't get their popcorn, they get their nitro, because you got to keep that heart, because I mean, they're going to be right here, the ticker every Sunday. So, because you just don't know. But to Chancey's point, that's sort of what makes this team fun. It's the maddening ups and downs, and in like 1 year you think it might pay off. So it's a lot more intriguing to see this than it would be if they lost today, and then you're like, okay, it's basically done again, and then they come back. So we shall see.
So hang on, Kyle. All right. Just keep that hand
I hope
over
you have
that
a good heart, Kyle.
100%.
I hope you have a good heart.
Apple Watch was wondering if I was okay. I wish there was an Apple Watch setting that said I'm just a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, okay. Thank you.
I love it. By the way, the Vikings' 5 losses this year are by a total of 18 points. They have 5 losses by a total of 18 points. 2 of those losses are in overtime.
But the majority of those defeats are their fault. So
Yeah.
So like they're not close games where it's like they could have pulled that game out. No,
Yeah,
they
one
pretty much screwed
Cooper
up.
Rush was one of them. You know, they blew a 2-touchdown lead to Baltimore. Arizona, missing the kick.
They scored a touchdown, I think, on the second play from scrimmage against the Cardinals. That's the point in the game where you're like, oh, we're gonna dagger these SOBs, and they end up in a close game.
Yeah,
like today again at the end of the first half. Why didn't you go for it? Like you did late, to Dex's point. You did late.
Kaboom's 87 chimes in, says, I have a defibrillator ready for me every game in case I have to press that shock button from my heart attack.
Kaboom is very smart.
Dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant. I just watched Christmas Vacation last night. Judd, you teed me up for it. I couldn't help myself.
I know, that's fine. It's perfect.
All
Hi,
right,
Mike
who's
Grimm.
next?
Bye, Mike Grimm.
Mike Grimm.
I'm
Michael.
Is Mike Grimm? I was gonna say, is
Right
Mike
there.
Grimm allowed to peek his head on
Hello.
camera?
Hi,
How's
Mike.
everybody? Phil,
Hey
good to
guys,
see
how's it
you.
going?
Big.
Show, my buddy just
Or-
took me to you
Cheers,
guys a
Diet
couple
Mountain
weeks
Dew.
ago.
What
But
are we talking about?
this is my viewing party right now
Oh
that
my
I
God.
had. They're doing
What?
the
You guys, are they rowing the boat back
No,
there?
no,
They're doing the
no,
gritty.
they're doing the gritty.
Oh, the
They're doing
gritty.
the
I see it. Okay.
So I got a couple takeaways from the show. My first takeaway is, what was going on with Rodgers at the end of the first half when he just went into the tunnel? It's like everybody
was super weird.
seems to be overlooking that. Did he have did his turf toe just inflame or something? Like, why couldn't he just go out there and take the last knee of the half? I don't understand that.
That was weird. Yeah, he was just hanging out with like 5 police officers,
Yeah,
just waiting for the
and
halftime.
To me, that just screams like egomaniac. Like,
Oh yeah.
I,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Not
He
a-
took. Yes.
Never have been, never will be a fan of Rodgers. And that just solidates my point. But anyway, another thing is like, okay, we got Justin Jefferson, top 5 receivers in the league, and we targeted him in the first half 3 times, over 100 yards and a touchdown. Why aren't we throwing him to him more? We should be making our offense plays go around Justin Jefferson and not Dalvin Cook. That I think that's what's gonna win us games. We're not gonna win on this run game anymore. We got to become a passing team. That is our one thing that we got to do different. And and
Your room. If your roommates
Yeah.
have takes too, just shut them out, man.
Yeah,
we'll
by
take
all
we'll
means.
take all your
they
takes.
don't have anything. they don't know anything. I just got one other question for you guys. Do you like how that tastes?
I love it, Michael.
You damn right.
No.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you. dude.
3 words for you. You like that?
Michael's like Triple H.
All week long, right? 0-9 on Monday night. You like how this tastes?
You like that?
You like
You like how that tastes? He's like Triple H holding court. DX in the background. He's got the shades on. He's the one directing traffic. He's not messing
So
around.
disgusting.
I love it. I think on the run pass thing, I mean, yeah, it definitely feels like a team that's trying to cope with like, all right, well, like we're a run first team and run first mentality. And Greg Olsen was great on the broadcast today. Greg Olsen made a couple different times made the point that, hey, the NFL in 2021, oftentimes it's the opposite, that you got to throw the ball down the field to loosen things up so your running game can get going. And, that's the direction that he was sort of pushing this thing in, as opposed to establish, and then, blow the top off the defense. It's like, it's probably the other way around now for the Vikings in most situations.
I think that it should become very, very clear that Justin Jefferson never should go an entire quarter if you have the football without a target. Like, I think that's fair. Like there were opportunities in the second quarter to target him, and they didn't. And
He
to
did
me,
the pass interference did come in the second
that's
quarter.
right. That's right.
But you're right. You're right.
I'm thinking that drive that went pass for 5 yards to Thielen, and then the Cook run, and then the CJ Ham pitch. You've got to take a shot there.
But I would say in general, like, because I know I quit football in 8th grade. I've never coached or coordinated, so take anything I say when it comes to scheming and play calling with a grain of salt. But 64 snaps for the Vikings, not counting penalties today. There were 2 sacks in there, so let's call it 62 plays minus the sacks and minus the turnovers. And they targeted either with runs or passes Cook, Jefferson, and Thielen 46 times on 62 plays. I don't know, like I haven't done all the research on the other games and stuff, but I like that. I like that percentage.
You like how that tastes?
I like how that tastes. Yes.
What was Jefferson's
46
final
shoving
target?
it to those guys? Jefferson and Thielen both had 10 targets each.
Okay. Yeah, I do like the total targets. I think that Jefferson should have gotten targeted again in the second quarter. But yeah, it's not. I mean, look, it's way better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
It makes way more sense. The Detroit game, you forgot about him, and it almost cost you the game. You didn't do that today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, who's next here, Declan?
All right, let's go to our dude, Paulford. What's up, brother? How
What's
are
up,
we?
Guys? Skull from Nashville. I got Grace here with me.
Hi, Grace.
She made something for you guys.
Let's go full screen here for Pulford there.
My guy,
Kirk
Cousins.
with a T, Cousins. Fourth quarter Pharaoh, Mr. Game-winning drive, and I can't read that last one.
Fourth
Turkey
quarter.
McClutcherton.
Kirky McClutcherton.
Grace has good penmanship.
The
very good.
2-minute
She did pretty
Terminator.
well. There's Bo.
Hey, Bo.
Hey, I've come to reasoning after the last 2 games, guys, that the Wilfs need to hire 1 assistant, actually 2 assistants. They need one with Klint Kubiak up in the booth, and they need one down on the field with Mike Zimmer. And that assistant's just going to stand with their hand in the air like this. And then when the Vikings decide to go conservative, that hand comes down and whack! Knock it off. Stop it. No. And then they can air the ball out. Like if, for some reason, Mike goes up there and says, hey, we need to throw a check down to C.J. Ham. You know what we do? Smack! No.
I think you could also do like Nickelodeon slime or something. Like every time he's thinking about, we haven't given the ball to CJ Ham in a while. Slap slime. No, dude.
That's exactly it. They just need somebody like a quality control assistant on the sidelines and up in the booth who's just standing there ready like, hey, do you want this? Or maybe like a surly beer can that's like, I will hit you with this. Like, are you guys ready for this? No. Then don't be conservative. Because when you don't let off the gas, look what happens. Good things happen. 2 years in a row now, Mike Zimmer doesn't have his defense. I've never had a bad defense. Guess what? You don't have your defense, Mike. You know what can win us games? This offense. Mm-hmm. This offense has every playmaker in the world to win you games. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Throw the ball to Jefferson. Look what happened. 50 yards, 40 yards. Guess what? PI. It worked. It absolutely worked.
And Zimmer's like, he's so uncomfortable with it still. And even after the game, I saw some of the quotes coming out, and he's like, they call it Sunday Fun Day, but there's nothing fun about these close games. It's like, dude, it's okay.
Embrace it.
It's okay. You're gonna get in back and forth fights. Like this is fun, dude.
But then, how do you remove to Skull for a point? How do you remove the closeness of the game? You allow your offense to operate more and more and more and get more points. That's how you get out of those tight games.
That's exactly.
So you're right. The slap coach.
That's how you score more than 7 points against the Browns. That's how you score more than, whatever XYZ, and you lose these close shootouts because you're being conservative. What happened in the Ravens game? They were being conservative. Now we go back to this team realistically, there's no reason they can't be 7-3, 8-2, 9-1. They could have any record better than 5-5 if it wasn't Mike Zimmer looking up at the scoreboard and going, holy smokes, we got a lead. Run the ball, dive, draw, CJ Ham check down, punt the ball.
I'm just real quick here to your point here. So I just pulled this, no pun intended, Pulford Skull. So today, Thielen, Jefferson, and Cook were either targeted or just given the ball like handoffs. 74% of the Vikings' offensive plays was to their 3 best playmakers, and that feels like that's pretty damn good. You bring up the Browns game. So Cousins minus the sacks through 36 passes. They handed the ball off. Now I think Dalvin might have gotten hurt in this game. Didn't he get hurt? And then Alex Madison came in.
That's right.
23. So they ran 59 plays, only 9 runs to Dalvin. 6 targets. Like, it was a much lower percentage in that game. And it just shows you, like, get the ball to your best playmakers. They'll make you look
just
good.
Running up the middle on first down, look what happens when you throw the ball out. Just air the ball out. Get it to your playmakers. Let them make plays. Look at how many times Jefferson went up today and made that play. And guess what? Just like I think you said it all week, Phil, actually the last couple of weeks. So what if you throw a pick? At least you were trying. You threw the ball up there and gave Jefferson a chance. What, 8 out of 10 times JJ's going to make that play or there's going to be a PI? So what if you throw a pick? It's better than a check down or a 2-yard pass on 3rd and 8. That's getting you nowhere.
Let's see the dogs again. That's all we really care about here. Your opinions are great now, but let's see the dogs.
There's Grace, and there's Bo. He's hanging out over there.
They're exhausted because that game was so close. They're like,
they're wore out.
Dad, we need to go to bed.
Grace was pulling a Mike Zimmer when she was writing this. She was like this when Greg Joseph went out there to kick.
Dude, Thielen and Harrison Smith were on one knee looking like faced away from the field. They couldn't even watch that last kick at the end of the game. They've seen too much.
I couldn't either. I actually turned my recorder on my phone, turned my camera backwards so I could just listen to what the announcer said.
Amazing. Pulford Skull, one of our favorite callers here on Vikings Vent Line. We'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
Say hi to the dogs again for us. Good stuff. All right, Dex, let's keep it moving here.
Vikes fan 86. What's up, man?
We're on, dude.
How are you doing?
So I just need to lead with my 4-year-old has been demanding to get in the shot at some point. So he's recently made Vikings fan. Well, not too long ago. She thought she was a Bears fan, but I threatened,
dude. Good for you.
with a lobotomy, so now she's So for one, I'm gonna just start with this. I really like Greg Olsen calling the games. I think he does a really good job. Even back to when they didn't want him to with Carolina. We were going to play them soon. They were going to play them like the next week. And they were like, nope, he can't come to any of the meetings or anything. I really like the way he calls games. Been watching you guys, Realistic, Randy, and Purple FTW for a while. I really love you guys' show.
Thanks, man.
I think cornerback, I think Zim, because he's a cornerback, he just hates wide receivers because Diggs rode the pine, remember, before he could get in for like 5 games or something. Doing the same thing with Justin Jefferson. I'm glad he's starting to finally turn that table. Mason Cole, I think he got thrown to the wolves a little bit. I think he deserves a little more before we just say, okay, it's not his turn to go. I also think Kirk needs a lot of props for being clutch. You never really hear about him being clutch, but I'm telling you, man, when we need some yards, this dude finds a way to connect passes more often than not. I really, really appreciate it. And we haven't had a consistent – when was the last time we had a guy just throwing for 300 yards consistently every game? I mean, I'm like, come on, man. Kirk's a dog out there. Definitely not our problem. I think the Packers were injured. I hear that a lot, but we've lost a lot of players on defense. Once you lose Daniil Hunter after him not playing an entire year, I'm not trying to hear jack about injuries from anybody. We lose a guy that dominant and still find a way to get to the quarterback. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. I also think I heard dude earlier complaining about the defense, but I think we were playing one of the better QBs in the league. This guy's a magician. He makes stuff happen. So it's like we're going to give up some stuff to him. It's like, can you keep him contained? You can't always stop him, but can you keep him contained? They did a damn good job with that this year, even though he has an alleged bum leg or whatever, toe or something. Cry me a river, yo. I'm a runner. I have a freaking bruise on my toe right now. I run 5 miles a day. He'll be okay. I was happy to see us get a few penalties going our direction. It always seems like those seem to swing for the other team. No matter what we're doing, it's like they always get some relief with a yellow flag on the field. So I was really glad to see that. And now, last but not least, I just need some consistency. It's like I can't deal with the highs and lows every week. It's like, can you guys just go on a run like every other team seems to be able to do? We have all the players on both sides of the ball. I really like the way our defense is playing. They haven't been getting a lot of props either, but the way that they've been able to push that pocket, you're getting like 2 or 3 seconds in there and you got to get rid of it. So they deserve a lot of credit. Can we please just get some consistency? Can we just win like 3 or 4 in a row? So I was at the Dallas game, mind you. I paid $150 for my ticket and I wanted a refund. I was so pissed off. Time before that, I was at the Miracle. So it's like the 2 games I have is just on completely opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's cold-blooded. I love you guys. Thanks. Keep doing what you do. Appreciate
Dude.
you finally getting in, man. Thank you so
Vikes
much.
fan 86.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Bye.
it.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Hey, to the officiating point, I don't know if you guys saw this nugget before the game, but so Sean Hockley, the not quite as jacked son of Ed Hockley, that road teams coming into today, road teams are 18-6 over the last 2 years when Sean Hockley's crew shows up.
What did the commentator say about the Rodgers touchdown pass that came immediately after he was going to call for timeout, and it looks like they denied it?
I mean, the commentators didn't have strong opinions on it. They just said, "Oh, he almost he didn't quite
started to.
He didn't quite touch the tee, if you will."
It looked like Pat Peterson.
There was a gap
Patrick quit
between the
playing.
fingers and the hand on the timeout motion.
Because it looked like Peterson totally let up at that point, and then he went back and was complaining. Mackenzie Alexander, I think, just flat out got beat. But anyway, it was just it was weird. I didn't think I thought that they just said no. That
Well, I think the referee's explanation was that the ball was snapped when he tried to call it.
Right, that's
I
what I
don't
thought.
think that's true. I think when he went to motion.
But you're right. He was going.
And as he was motioning before his fingers touched his hand to make the tee, the ball was snapped.
And he
then
caught it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got lucky on that one for sure. All right, who's next on Vikings Vent Line?
Yeah, just a couple more here. Let's go to Jason. Jason, what's up, man? You're on Vikings Vent Line. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Big fan of you guys' content. And I just had a couple comments. One thing that I noticed today with Kirk was I think back to the Baltimore third down play where all of that pressure came and he had no idea what to do. And if you look at some of the key drives that Kirk dealt with today, there was pressure coming from everywhere. And I don't know if it was play calling. I don't know if it was Kirk being more prepared, but he handled that pressure immaculately, in my opinion. Getting balls out to Cook, getting balls out to, I think, KJ Osborne. That was something that really, really impressed me. I don't know if that's an evolution for him or, again, if it was more play calling and scheming. But something that I thought was really, really cool for Kirk was, I mean, that touchdown throw that he made to Jefferson, he made that literally going to his back.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we can talk all day about Jefferson and his skill set. I think he's not only the hottest receiver in the NFL right now, but probably in the top 1, 2, or 3. I think Devontae Adams is great, but he also plays with Aaron Rodgers. So, Jordy Nelson was a great receiver for a long time, but he also played with Aaron Rodgers. So making those throws and having the guts to whether he saw the pressure, whether he was moving the line around, that play against Baltimore, I swear to God, I was talking to my fiance for 3 days about it. How did you not see that blitz coming, right? And today, it was a totally different story. And they were bringing pressure from the left, up the middle. And again, I don't know if that's on Kirk, if that's on scheme, if he's just building confidence. But that was something that really, really impressed me. And I think it really led to the Vikings winning the game today. And my second comment to go along with that is, I know the number one goal of this show is for the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. And I will ride with that goal with you guys as long as it takes. But beating Green Bay is always a good thing.
Amen. Jason, great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Thanks.
And I like that Jason brought up that throw. The Packers, I'm so curious to see the final numbers and pressures and things, all the nerdy stats that are going to come out the next couple days. But, the Packers brought the heat a few times in key situations. And that throw that Kirk made, I mean, he's literally getting obliterated into dust, and that ball comes out of his hand to Justin Jefferson. It was the right read. Justin Jefferson, according to Pro Football Focus, is the number 2 ranked receiver against man coverage. So if it's man coverage, just throw it to him. And they did today.
Correct.
He's also the number 1 rated receiver out of the slot this season. And I believe the near touchdown early in the game where he went for like 40 whatever yards and outstretched the ball, and then Dalvin wound up cleaning it up. I'm pretty sure he was lined up in the slot there as well. So slot, man-to-man, like either one of those things, just throw it to Justin Jefferson. He is a god. He's unbelievable.
And one of the primary differences between that last play in Baltimore that goes beyond just being smart enough and quick enough to slide the protection is this. If you do what Kirk did today, you're going to invite more pressure. The question is, can the receivers run the depth of their routes for you to get the ball to them? Now, if you go back and watch that Baltimore game, those guys were barely into their routes, basically, and Kirk was heaving the ball towards the turf in Baltimore. Today, Kirk made some very nice deep throws. Mm-hmm. So, like, the pressure there is natural. Like, you're inviting it, and that's the game. That's the game of being a really good quarterback. Is you are very rarely, if you're going to throw deep like Kirk did to Jefferson a bunch, you're very rarely just going to have like a clean pocket of, oh, well, I'll just take my time here. It is a bang bang type of play that's going to invite the pressure because you're allowing the pressure to come at you while the receiver runs the route. And that again is play calling. I'm sure it's sliding protections as well. But that's the big difference. That play in Baltimore never developed. A ton of plays today that did have pressure had developed. That's a very big distinction.
Mm-hmm. It looks like we're wrapping this thing up where we started it an hour and a half ago. Mm-hmm. Bob in a hot tub in Pennsylvania.
One more time, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Bob,
yes,
what's
sir.
going on, man? Wrap us up here.
The callback.
All right, a couple things real quick. One, it just goes to show you how effective throwing the ball downfield and throwing more often leads to success. You get the PI with Jefferson, you get the roughing the passer on Cousins, and then the next play he throws to Thielen when Jefferson was double covered. Thielen does an option route, which Olsen called out on the play call. Touchdown. Okay, Vikings go up by 2 scores. Okay, later in the third quarter, they ran basically the same play with a different look. Jefferson in the backfield, so you guarantee he gets single coverage. They got double coverage on Thielen. That is a combination of how you win a Super Bowl right there.
Yes.
You throw it to those 2 guys, and then you use your weapon, Cook. And I just want to say one more thing. Lady luck is golden, because when that kick mattered, I said to my wife, Maureen, please give me a little lady luck because we need it with our kicking history. And she gave me her hand, and that kick was right down the center. Go!
You like that?
Yes, Bob.
Way to bring it, Bob.
You son of a bitch.
Way to go, Bob.
You old sailor. Sail away in that hot tub. That's Bob in Pennsylvania. In the dark, in a hot tub.
That has me wanting to run through this wall back here. Oh my God, I'm fired up now.
Dude,
Thanks,
feel
Bob.
I think you should just run through that wall while all the journalists are hammering out those quotes from Mike Zimmer. Actually, you know what? We got one more that jumped in here. Let's wrap it up here with Liam.
I think Liam, what's up, man? You're calling from the UK too, right?
Yeah, man, it's getting about just gone 10:30 at night, so I just thought I'd jump on. Got to talk quiet so I don't wake the family up.
Yeah. We'll try not to wake the family as well. We'll speak in hushed tones. What did you see today?
I think, first off, love the show. It pretty much takes up my Monday morning at work.
Thanks,
great
Liam.
stuff every week. I think as a Vikings fan now, what this game told me is I'm just going to take it week to week. I'm not making any big assumptions. I'm not saying Zimmer in, Zimmer out. We're gonna go this far. Let's just see how this goes. We've had 2 good weeks. We're kind of seeing what we want on offense, but you're still seeing the sweep to CJ Ham on a 3rd and 1 just drives you crazy. But let's just see how it goes. We got nothing to lose. It can't get any worse than Cooper Rush. So let's just see how we go.
I think what's hilarious is that was such an amazing win for the Vikings, and yet because of previous trauma, Liam is like the 5th person to reference the CJ Ham play on 3rd and 1. It's such an amazing win, and by the way, rightfully so. But everyone's still kind of like, damn it, that play to CJ Ham on 3rd down. What the hell was that?
I've only got about 3 friends in the UK who I can talk good football with, and I kept getting tonight because one's a Packer fan. I kept getting what's with the 2nd down runs, and I'm like, it's all I listen to. Listen to these podcasts, it's all we talk about. And a Packer fan was going, I can't believe it. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Liam, great stuff, man. Thanks for
Liam.
wrapping this. We'll
Thanks
let you get
very
to
much.
bed out there in the UK. Shout out to our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Federated's been around for over 100 years in the state of Minnesota, helping business owners with risk management, bottom line protection, protecting employees. Find out more about the great work Federated does with businesses all around the state at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. If you're hanging out with us still, you can help us a lot and spread the word about the show by clicking the subscribe button on the Purple Daily YouTube channel and by clicking the like button. If you think the Vikings are back in the thick of this thing in the NFC playoffs, click that like button. We got Pie Chart Monday tomorrow on Purple Daily, Pie Chart of Praise. Any final thoughts from the stadium, Judd Zulgad?
I think our friend Liam is probably right. I think enjoy this week to week, and hopefully the Vikings continue with the offensive approach, because if nothing else, as a football fan, it is a hell of a lot more fun to watch this team if you allow Kirk to cook and Justin to fulfill the Justin justification ratio, which is probably about 23%. Like there's got to be some ratio.
Justification.
Justin
I like that
justification.
one,
There's got to be. You've got to justify his presence. And today they did a good job. Not great, but good. But I approved of what we saw. It passed the eye test. How about that?
And if you're Aaron Rodgers, don't make the boneheaded mistake of giving 2 full minutes and I think multiple timeouts to the fourth quarter pharaoh himself.
Damn right.
The late game luminary, the 2-minute Terminator, Kirky McClutcherton.
So here's a statistical job for somebody tonight. How many times since Favre became the Packers quarterback have the Vikings rallied in the last 2 minutes of a game to beat the Packers?
Feels like it happens the other way a lot.
Because Favre did it a ton, I think. Like statistically, I think Favre did it a lot. Feels like I'm sure Aaron has. Like how many? It can't. Can't believe. I mean, this does go back 30 years, but I can't believe it's been a lot that the Vikings have actually been the team to turn the tables.
Yeah, this was by the way. This was the 3rd successful game-winning drive of the season for Kirk Cousins, tying his Vikings high of 3 last year. He only had 1 in 2018 and 19 combined. His career high is 4 in 2017.
3 game-winning drives. Give him a chance. Yeah.
He also should have had a 4th if Greg Joseph doesn't miss a chip shot field goal in Arizona. But yeah, awesome stuff, man. Great stuff. A lot of great, couple first-timers in there too.
That's right.
Love the first-timers.
A lot to be thankful for this week. A lot to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for it looks like our team is falling apart, Declan, but that's a different discussion.
Oh, the Wild.
Yeah.
Down two rip to the Lightning.
That's right. The Timberwolves Dynasty bandwagon is wide open for you guys if you want to jump on.
Yeah, something's brewing. Something's brewing with Kevin Fiala, and I think Jed and I are going to have to discuss it here because it doesn't sound like this is going too well with the Wild and Kevin Fiala.
My Wolves take is this now. I am going to get tickets for the Warriors. I'm trying to think of what games will be competitive now that the Wolves play. Because the rest of the league, they're just going to kill teams.
Yeah, it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
If they're just going to rest starters in the fourth quarter every time. Yeah.
Warriors.
If they play the Bulls in the Eastern Conference, they're off to a pretty hot start.
Because I'm only going to go to those games now because they're going to win. I mean, they're probably going to win the rest of their games this season by 25, right?
Dude,
an average.
They were up by 40 points the entire second half of that game. They also got Luke Walton fired. See that? They got Luke Walton.
Did Luke Walton
today.
get fired?
Yeah.
Well, that's how Finchy rolls.
Finchy.
Finchy daggers opposing coaches.
He does.
Finchy's just your job. I want your job.
Sticks a shiv in their rib cage.
All right, boys.
All right, great stuff. A celebratory Vikings vent line presented by Surly Brewing Company. And Judd's written work, too, you can find at scorenorth.com and the Score North app. We'll see you tomorrow for Pie Chart of Praise Monday here. Daily Vikings entertainment, the most fan-friendly and interactive show in Minnesota sports. This has been Vikings Vent Line.